Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is the Views Express Live right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network for the 17th of January, 2013. You know, there's a lot of stuff in the news today, and for the past week we've had the back and forth on the Second Amendment. And as far as I'm concerned, it's settled. It's called the Constitution. Now, regardless of what anyone says, regardless of what the gun grabbers want, we got a Second Amendment. Bottom line. Don't like it? Pack your crap and get to a third world country somewhere, and then you'll appreciate the rights we have. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. And if you people don't believe that they want our guns, IRS credit to citizens who allow government to confiscate their guns. Gun confiscation bill introduced in Congress. Kurt Nimmo over at Infowars.com put this up. And the bill is H.R. 226. It was introduced in the House of Representatives by Connecticut Democrat Representative Rosa DeLauro. Sorry, I had to cough there and didn't want to cough in your ear. The bill will amend the 1986 IRS code and allow a credit if taxpayers surrender their guns to the government. Now, why would they want to do this? Gun control is not so much about the guns, but about control. Period. Cited as the, quote, supports assault firearms elimination and reduction of our streets act, unquote. The proposed legislation represents another effort to convince citizens that they must voluntarily turn in their guns as a civic duty to the and to do their part to reduce gun violence and protect children, as Obama said yesterday. The bill is yet more evidence that the federal and state governments are now pulling out all stops short of door-to-door confiscation in their coordinated effort to disarm American people. There you go. Now, I'm done with the idiots that say there is no conspiracy. I heard of a piece, well, let's put it this way. I didn't hear the whole hour of the podcast, but I heard enough. And I knew where the person was going. And sure enough, they went there. They said basically, in not so many words, that these the people who are fans of and listeners of Alex Jones are nothing but freaks. That they'll look for something and try to find something in something and call it a conspiracy. Well, I want to tell you something right now. And you know who you are. Let me read this again. And go look it up. H.R. 226. 113th Congress, first session. The bill is yet more evidence that the federal and state governments are now pulling out all stops short of door-to-door confiscation in their coordinated effort to disarm American people. Strikingly honest language, included in the legislation, specifies that the bill is part of the government's, quote, program to reduce the number of privately owned weapons, unquote. In short, a program to disarm the American people. Under the direction of the Internal Revenue Service, which is nothing more than the biggest collection agency in the world, hired by and operated by the same people that operate the Federal Reserve. has nothing to do with federal, and it only reserves the elite's money. So let me tell you something. For those who tell me I'm wrong, you can pack your bags anytime you want and leave this country. Oh, I'm sure Canada or Mexico would love your citizenship. I'm sure that China and Russia would love your citizenship. Get the hell out of my country now. And if you think, and you know who you are, and there are many, 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 many different people like myself, if you think that we don't have the balls to stand up against these morons in Washington, D.C., if you think that the government's going to come to our door and we're just going to, they're going to look at us and say, hey, we want your guns. If you think we're going to roll over with our tail between our legs and say, oh, here you go, Mr. Government official, you got another thing coming, buddy. You think you got the balls? You think you got the gonads? You think you got the courage to stand up to anybody like myself? I don't think you do. And I'll tell you what, I was born and raised around guns. Mama didn't raise no fool. Grandma taught me better. Daddy gave me a backbone, and my brother taught me how to take care of myself. And believe me, there ain't nothing I would rather do than to take care of myself and protect myself. And I have a Second Amendment right to do so. And it wasn't that piece of paper that gave me the right to do it. We all have an innate sense within us to protect ourselves. It's called survival. The common denominator of all life is survival. And I don't care what you say, what you believe you know. You don't know jack. You understand me? You don't have the knowledge or the understanding of how it is when you put together all of the things I have for the last 30 some odd years and figured out that this government is not for you, nor do they have your best interest at heart. I can go from one aspect to the other, but I won't, because you're ignorant and you don't really care. You want to get down on me and hundreds and thousands of others like me who are patriots, who can stand up for ourselves, who aren't going to roll over or retreat? Get your head out of the clouds. Or get your head out of some other part of your body. Because you don't even know. Until you walk in my shoes. Know what I know. Have encountered and talked to the people I have talked to. You don't know jack. I can say that about other people as well. If I haven't walked in your shoes or know what you know, I don't know what you know. I'm not in that perspective. I'm not perceiving those things from your aspect. So I can say the same thing about myself. So there you go. We're on the same page, I hope. But those who are out there like Senator Dianne Feinstein and all the other ones that want to take our guns, good luck. You're going to need it.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle. I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com. Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hold down. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
Hey, this is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 17th of January, 2013. I went past my 5-minute break, but that's okay. 5 after break, I should say. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check out, check out all the stuff I have there if you would like. And that's okay. If you don't want to, that's fine. Sit back, relax, listen, enjoy. Because I don't pull any punches here. I tell it like it is, and that's just the way it is, and if you don't like it, have a nice day. 14 United States governors prepare state militia defenses to be ready against Obama's rogue federal, that's what it says. Click on the link. Federal forces. 14 United States governors prepare state militia defenses to be ready against Obama's rogue federal forces. Okay? TheBladeReport.com. Obama, fearing a revolution against him by the states, has moved swiftly by nationalizing nearly all National Guard forces in multiple states. Here are the states: Georgia, Alabama, Kansas, Minnesota, Tennessee, Virginia, Louisiana, South Carolina, to name a few. The governors of the great states of Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia still have under their command and control the state defense forces to go against U.S. federal forces should the need arise. Also important to note, there are no U.S. laws prohibiting National Guard troops from also joining their state's defense forces. This dilemma occurred during the Civil War, with many civilian soldiers choosing to serve their states instead of the federal government. Obama is angered by the several state governors who have reestablished state defense forces. These forces are described as, quote, state defense forces, also known as state guards, state military reserves, or state militias in the United States, are military units that operate under the sole authority of the state government. They are not regulated by the National Guard Bureau, nor are they part of the Army National Guard of the United States. State defense forces are authorized by state and federal law and are under command of the governor of each state. State defense forces are distinct from their state's National Guard in that they cannot become federal entities, unquote. Mr. Obama is fearful of these state defense forces, I should say, in that he does not have control of said forces. And with the U.S. military stretched and near breaking from multiple deployments and theater actions in Iraq and Afghanistan, these state military forces would be under the direct command and authority of the governors in which states have said forces. In essence, the governors would have de facto control of the United States. Notice of all Ramadan celebrating Islamic terrorist camps. The two governors leading this move are Tim Pawlenty, governor of Minnesota, and Rick Perry, governor of Texas. Both of these state governors stated they have, quote, deep fear the president is destroying their nation, unquote. Governor Pawlenty's fear of Obama is that since Obama took office, he has appeased America's enemies and has shunned some of America's strongest allies, especially Israel. Governor Perry has declared that Obama is punishing his state of Texas by dumping tens of thousands of illegal Mexican immigrants into the cities and small towns of Texas. Governor Perry further recently stated, quote, if Barack Obama's Washington doesn't stop being so oppressive, Texans might feel compelled to renounce their American citizenry and secede from the Union, unquote. News to Governor Rick Perry, you can't do that without a revolution. Dr. Lyle J. Rapacki. Lyle is an intelligence analyst and consultant who receives and disseminates critical intelligence and policy information from and to law enforcement, intelligence operatives, homeland security officials, government, and community leaders. He is the author of dozens of white papers, bulletins, and briefings, and he is frequently called on to share his expertise with public and private security directors and organizations. Lyle J. Rapacki, Ph.D., Protective Intelligence and Assessment Specialist Consultant at Behavioral Analysis and Threat Assessment, Independent Intelligence and Information Warfare Analysis Analyst, FBI InfraGard, Arizona, ASIS International. There's a whole thing right there. Just click on that and read that, if you would, please. Thank you. 47 states revolt against Obama gun control. I just want to interject this. Some people said I went off the deep end. Some people said that I don't know what I'm talking about. Some people said that I'm a freak. Conspiracy nut, kook, out there in left field. Two words. Actually, no, there was one other one. That I'm a nutcase. I always like that word. I got 3 words for you. You are wrong. Have a nice day. WND, World News Daily. 47 states revolt against Obama gun control. Fed up Americans, quote, we're not going to accept this. We're against this. Now, sorry for the silence. My sinuses seem to be acting up. says here at WND, that would be Whiskey November, December, or that would be WND.com. 47 states revolt against Obama gun control. Thousands of gun owners across America have had enough of the Obama administration's attack on the Second Amendment, and they're preparing to take their concerns to the capitals in at least 47 states this Saturday, January 19th at 12 p.m. Texan Eric Reed, founder and national coordinator of Guns Across America rallies, told WND he's irritated about all the talk of new gun control regulations and overreach by the federal government in violation of the Second Amendment rights. Quote, I was trying to figure out why people weren't being more proactive about this, Reed said. Then I realized I'm part of the problem. It takes someone to stand up and say, hey, we're not going to accept this. We're against it, unquote. Goes on to say, Reed says he's essentially, talking about the president and his 23 executive orders, quote, he's essentially restricting and punishing all law-abiding American citizens, Reed said. He's taking people who have never committed a crime in their lives and he's trying to tell them that these guns are assault weapons. Well, I've got guns in my home, and if they're assault weapons, then mine must be defective because they haven't assaulted anybody. Unquote. Frustrated by the narrative coming out of Washington, Reed noted that the assault weapons have been banned since 1934. Quote, the aesthetics of a rifle do not determine what an assault rifle is, he said. Quote, that's what our elected officials in Washington, D.C. are trying to sell to the American people. I mean, if you take the body of a Ferrari and stick it on a Chevrolet, it's still a Chevrolet. It's going to perform like a Chevrolet. It's just a cool-looking Chevrolet. Reed added that the media contribute to misinformation and confuse the public about so-called assault weapons. He says part of the ignorance of the media, because of a lot of them, may not necessarily have a good idea of what an assault rifle is, he said. Another part of it is most of the media do not push a liberal spin. Or, excuse me, another part of this, most of the media do push a liberal spin. They're helping to push through a political agenda that the Obama administration wants to pass right now, unquote. So I am completely and absolutely 100% and utterly done with people who think that conspiracy theorists are freaks and over the edge and gone off the deep end and all that. Let me tell you something. Bye. Have a nice day. You people don't know what you're talking about. You never have and you never will. So just go off in your little delusional world and take your blue pill and you'll be fine. Okay? Nothing to see here. Move along now. So I'm done with you people. I'm done. Continuing on, Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. There's a video up there which is very profound. It was from an old Twilight Zone episode with Burgess Meredith. Logic is an enemy, and truth is a menace. Have you seen that one? Well, let me fill you in. And this goes to all these people out there that think I'm one of them conspiracy theorist kooks that went off the deep end, okay? Just saying. Let me play this for you. As soon as it starts up here. Whoops. Facebook is burping. It's having a problem. So let me do this. Just hang on to your shorts there, folks, because I'll get right to it. I was told also that I shouldn't have to explain myself. But wouldn't you if somebody came up into your face and screamed and yelled and called you an MFer and a stupid freak and you'd have to defend yourself, would you not? Okay. It doesn't seem to work. The video doesn't seem to work. I don't know why, but it doesn't. So we shall move on to something else. And Facebook seems to be burping a lot. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Brian Keller over at Just BK. Tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night he has a guest who worked in the entertainment industry worked in the entertainment industry. Now, moving on, there are many different videos, many different things that people have said about the Sandy Hook tragedy and all of that. Newtown, Connecticut. But I want to say this. On both accounts, there's two things I want to say. And on both accounts, I want to start out by saying, you weren't there. Neither was I, but you weren't there. I'm seeing evidence that shows, very compelling evidence, that shows there was a drill a week before, that there were multiple shooters, that some of the people that came before the camera were actors. There's compelling evidence. Do I believe it? Do you not believe it? Remember, you weren't there. Neither was I. So, all these things I keep hearing and seeing, including the scanner call that someone put up and recorded and put up on YouTube, and the eyewitness testimony and all this that were out there and all of that. Big question is, though, and one part of the argument is, well, if it was a setup, it had to take a lot of people from the county sheriff to the police to the EMTs to, you name it. No, it didn't. Hello. It's called one world government. It's called one person goes to that state and says, here's what you're going to do. We're going to do a drill just in case. Let's do a drill, and let's just say someone comes into a school and does this. And a month later, it happens. How many people can be dispatched in such a short time to get this accomplished? That's another part of the argument that people are saying. Why don't you do the research and understand that from the Roman Empire to World War I to, World War II to Korea to Vietnam, our government has staged false flag events to get things done. If people do not bow down willingly to the king, what usually happens? Just saying. Okay? So all those folks out there again that say, well, it must have taken a lot of people. And you conspiracy people are nothing but freaks. Yeah. I don't believe anything coming out of Washington, D.C. I don't believe any of it. None of it. Because their propaganda machine called mainstream media lies through their teeth. Okay? If, I'll throw this out at you. If the opposite is true, if these were not actors, if 20 kids and 6 adults were murdered, if all of that has taken place the way that the media has said, do you know what that will do? Do you know what it has done? Exactly what Washington, D.C. wanted it to do. You and I get viscerally emotional about this situation and say, we've got to do something about this. And all the gun-grabbing fascist Marxist pigs are out there going, we're going to take your guns away from you. Yeah. Then they create misinformation, disinformation, and rhetoric based upon what exactly? Again, you weren't there, and neither was I. So I want to put out this challenge. Got a challenge to put out here, and I'll do that right after the bottom of the hour break. Shall I? Hey, that works for me. It's my network. I can do whatever I want. Sorry, sinuses are acting up. We will go to break. I'll come back and put out a challenge to some people. Hey, you know what? It's Thursday, the 17th of January, 2013. I hope you're having a good day. I know I am. Be back right after this.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Sometimes it's news, sometimes it's politics, but it always involves my opinion. Come join me, BK, on That BK Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on KTRNradio.com. Bring the talk.
Are you an actor looking for a place to promote your work? Do you do voiceover work and want others to hear what you do? Go to Eastland Entertainment and get your work seen and heard. Eastland Entertainment is your one-stop shop in the Reno, Nevada area for all of your entertainment needs. Eastland Entertainment will promote your work for you. Eastland Entertainment also produces original short films and radio plays through Eastland Radio Films. For more information, contact them at eastlandentertainment@usa.com or go to the Eastland Radio Films website at eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms. That's eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms. Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is the views expressed for the 17th of January, 2013. I hope you're doing good. It's a Thursday. We got one more day before Friday and then the weekend. Hey! Yay! Email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, like the page, enjoy what you see, because I put up a lot there. We'll go there now. From Liberty and Freedom Foundation, not my group, Liberty and Freedom Foundation on Facebook. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu blasts Obama after Obama has the audacity to say that he knows better what is right for Israel. The audacity of the pompous Barack Obama knows no bounds. The story released yesterday quoted Barack Obama as saying, quote, Israel doesn't know its own best interests, unquote. Of course, Barack Obama should know better what is best for them since he already dictated what happens here in America based on what he believes is best according to his extremist ideology for us. Prime Minister Netanyahu shot back, quote, I think everyone understands that only Israel's citizens are those who will be the ones to determine who faithfully represents Israel's vital interest, unquote. The Prime Minister said in his first direct response to Obama's reported criticism, seems Obama is mad that Israel won't succumb to the terrorist Palestinians who he favors. We believe that a man who fought for his country, served heroically in a battle like Netanyahu, would probably know about what is best for his country over a man like Obama, who ran from his duties to serve his country, never wearing the uniform, instead eschewing service to attend flag burnings. Click like if you think Barack Obama doesn't even know what is right for America, much less for Israel. Isn't it wonderful? We got a president who who really doesn't care. I mean, seriously. Think about what he's done. Over 300 executive orders, more executive orders, including Republicans, by the way. More executive orders than the entire history of the United States of America. And we're supposed to believe him? Okay. What has people thinking that he knows what's best for America? You know, I have on Spreaker, I have 2 hours of Alex Jones talking to Michelle Dowry, the Obama phone lady. She was in his studio. So you go listen to that and you tell me what you think. Listen to it, draw your own conclusion, whatever. And then when you actually want to pull your head out and start looking at things and want to open up and see the sunshine and see what's going on around you and stop pretending that everything's just fine, then email me and tell me what you think. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. I'm more than willing to respond. No question is off limits. And so, when you do email me, and you love caller ID, and when you email me, please understand that no question is off limits. Okay? But also understand this. I am very respectful to people who are looking for answers, who really want to know. And there's 2 people I'm thinking of that really wanted to know, and I gave them the answers, and they were very respectful about, their responses, and I'm cool with that. I give them high fives. There's two other people, which I won't even mention because they're not, I was going to say they're on the fence. They're not on the fence. They're on the wrong side of the fence, standing in their own excrement. Just saying. I've been accused of talking down to people. Yeah, I talk down to people. But I talk directly to people as well. I'm no better or worse than anybody else. I'm no smarter than anybody else. Matter of fact, sitting in a classroom in in the community college in Stockton, California, I felt no different than anybody else, including the instructor. I didn't feel inferior or superior. I knew that someone didn't have the knowledge. I share with them. If they think I'm wrong, not my problem. If they're smart enough to ask, I'm sure they're smart enough to go look up the information themselves. Mama told me 3 words. Figure it out. I did. But I digress. I don't want to get off on some big old rant. Because I really don't believe that people are as, I don't believe that people are stupid. If anybody has a question and asks, that's pretty intelligent to me, and I'm going to give them the best answer that I have. And if I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. I don't have a problem with that. No question is off limits. Email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network @usa.com. You want to be free? We live in a country that is free. So far. Until next year. Or this summer. Just saying. Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Go check that out. There's 2 videos which are very important to look at. Piers Morgan gets angry after losing gun control debate and throws his notes towards his guest. That's from David Toubeau Pierce. Believe is my cousin. Also from InfoWars Social Networking Coalition, China's Ghost Cities. There's a video there. Please go look at it. Thank you. IS-042. Social Media in Emergency Management Course Summary and Handouts prepared by Vision Box Crisis Actors. crisisactors.org or crisisactors.com. Resources is042_social_media.pdf. You might want to go take a look at that. An American Indian who I respect. I respect them all. The good ones. Because we beat the living daylights out of them. Not we, not you and I, but folks back then coming across the United States beat the living daylights out of them and stole their land. This is the greatest country we ever stole. One of my friends who's part Cherokee told me that. Picture here on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. It's from quickmeme.com. I'm all for total gun control and trusting the government to protect you. After all, it worked great for us. It's an American Indian. Looks like Blackfoot or Sioux. Don't know. Another picture you need to look at because it is very, very important. This is directly from the mainstream media. And I'll read the article next to it. CIA spokesman Anderson Cooper sent by Masters to discredit independent Sandy Hook investigations. 1. No surveillance footage was released from inside the school. 2. No retraction that the car they said was Adam Lanza's was regressed to a one Christopher Rodla. Number 3, no mention that evidence and investigations have been sealed for 90 days by the state superior judge regarding Adam Lanza and his alleged mother. Number 4, no mention of the media that an active shooter drill was indeed taking place 14 miles down the road and at a nearby firehouse where most of the footage was shot. Number 5, no mention of the press that Lieutenant Paul Vance of the Connecticut State Police Department has been involved in multiple active shooter drills. Number 6, no mention of the press that Eric Holder and the Connecticut governor met 2 weeks prior to the shooting as part of the Operation Longevity. Number 7, no mention that the governor admits on TV that he was recently told something like this would happen in his state. Number 8, no mention of the purple van fleeing the scene with multiple people in it, wearing masks and nun outfits, confirmed by police audio. Number 9, no one mentions that a local press agency at Newtown B got an interview with Sandy Hook Elementary's principal the day of the shooting after it took place. However, the mainstream claims the principal was shot dead. Number 10, no mention of the press that memorials and fundraisers were uploaded in advance on several different formats, not only limited to Vimeo and Twitter, but websites as well, including CNN's website, where we proved the day on the time and date stamp was removed. Number 11, no children interviewed the day of the shooting heard gunshots. Number 12, most importantly, the shooting has led to the largest push to limit the Second Amendment in the history of the United States. This is from A Sheep No More on Facebook. From the Intel Hub by Shepard Embellis. Anderson Cooper, known by well-researched individuals to be a Central Intelligence Agency operative embedded within the mainstream media, has seemingly been ordered by his masters to launch a massive disinformation campaign, cover-up, of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. In fact, Cooper uses many intelligence agencies' tactics during the broadcast in question that aired Tuesday on CNN's Anderson Cooper's 360, including various straw man arguments. Anderson Cooper starts out with the segment trying to discredit, quote, internet conspiracy theories. Listen up, Lester. But this in itself is a straw man argument, as most reports and or comments on the internet are just calling for more evidence to be presented publicly for a more in-depth open investigation. Another skill set Cooper is proficient with is neuro-linguistic programming. Go check that out. Which was taught to him likely during his internship at the Central Intelligence Agency. He's a Vanderbilt. Vanderbilts had their hands in the CIA, and the CIA had their hands working with the Vanderbilts. During the show, Cooper attempts to discredit the internet in totality, essentially claiming that his show, CNN, and the mainstream media, televised, are the end-all, say-all of everything, and that anything on the internet is nonsense. However, One simply knows this is not true, as a general consensus from real people can be seen across the internet, along with independent reports and other open investigations not funded by mega corporations. What Cooper fails to mention to his rather reachless audience at CNN, that he was duped, is the real hard facts. He mentions none as he carries on and on with straw man arguments, literally mentioning in a previous broadcast that he doesn't even know what the word duped means. There's a dictionary, dude. Go look it up. The corporate-controlled media expects you to just believe the official story and turn in your guns like good little slaves, which is a whole other issue intertwined into the recent shootings. Let me interject this. Remember earlier I talked about false flag events causing us and causing the news media. By the way, there's this thing called the military-industrial complex. They use the press corps in Washington, D.C., on directions from Media Matters, funded by George Soros, to put out disinformation on the mainstream media, so you'll just be good little slaves and take the blue pill and turn in your guns. Continuing, here is a short list of hard facts ignored by Cooper and his non-investigative, incapable staff, as well as the rest of the mainstream media, as they continue to push for censorship by insinuating that the internet rumors are hurting the victims' families, that essentially the Sandy Hook school shooting needs no more looking into. Number one, I mentioned those before, but number one, no surveillance footage was released from inside the school. So I'm not going to go over them again. You can go there and look at them yourself. There's a link there. Click on the link, and if you think I'm full of bull crap, then you got your head up your wazoo. How's this? Second Oregon sheriff. There was one before. Obviously, it's a second one here. Or a second Oregon sheriff says he won't enforce unconstitutional gun laws. Crook County Sheriff Jim Hensley says he took up Lynn County counterpart's offer to replicate letter to Vice President refusing to enforce any new federal gun laws. Shall we continue? Crook County Sheriff Jim Hensley says he took up Lynn County counterpart's offer to replicate letter to Vice President refusing to enforce any federal gun laws that, in their belief, would infringe upon the Second Amendment. Prineville, Oregon. Crook County Sheriff has taken up an offer from his Lynn County counterpart and fired off a blistering letter Tuesday to Vice President Joe Biden, vowing he and his deputies won't enforce any new gun laws or regulations that infringe on residents' Second Amendment rights. Lynn County Sheriff Tim Mueller sent the Vice President such a letter Monday, accusing politicians of, quote, attempting to exploit the deaths of innocent victims by advocating for laws that would prevent honest, law-abiding Americans from possessing certain firearms and ammunition magazines, unquote. Mueller wrote, "We are Americans. We must not allow, nor shall we tolerate the actions of criminals, no matter how heinous the crimes, to prompt politicians to enact laws that will infringe upon the liberties of responsible citizens who have broken no laws." Unquote. Mueller also circulated the letter to other Oregon sheriffs and suggesting they could send a similar letter should they agree with him. According to Hensley, who such on Tuesday saying he felt the same way as the Lynn County law enforcer. Quote, "I said, you know what? It's a clear statement. He hit the nail right on the head." Unquote. Hensley's letter, changed only by the county names, stated, quote, any federal regulation enacted by Congress or by executive order by the president offending offending the constitutional rights of my citizens shall not be enforced by me or by my deputies, nor will I permit the enforcement of any unconstitutional regulations or orders by federal officers within the borders of Crook County, Oregon. Unquote. Quote, in summary, it is a position of this sheriff that I refuse to participate or stand idly by while my citizens are turned into criminals due to the unconstitutional actions of misguided politicians, unquote, Hensley concluded. Asked why he sent the letter, Hensley said Tuesday night, quote, I believe strongly in the Second Amendment, unquote. Quote, if the federal government comes into Crook County and wants to take my firearms and things away from citizens, I'm going to tell them it's not going that way, unquote, the sheriff said. But Hensley also says that despite all the talk, he doesn't believe things will go that far, quote, because there's so much opposition in this country, unquote, to more restrictions on gun ownership. Quote, some people go as far as to ask, well, are you going to fight our military when they come to take our guns, unquote, Hensley said. Quote, I say absolutely not. We're not going to get into a gun battle with our fellow citizens, but I will do everything in my power to defend their right to the Second Amendment, unquote. To Hensley's view, quote, they are addressing the wrong topics, unquote, and he points to the violent video games as an example. Quote, kids for years now play video games in which they have committed thousands of homicides. I believe those games are teaching kids games they shouldn't be doing, instilling a mindset to kill as many people as in a video game, unquote. Quote, I'm not saying outlaw games, the sheriff said, but quote, if you're going to look at firearms, unquote, you should look at other factors that may also play a role in such mass shootings. Hensley noted that there are already hundreds of gun laws on the books. A responsible gun owner, he says, a responsible person knows who they are selling a firearm to or trading with. The bottom line is, I don't even believe that person, in my opinion, should have to have a concealed weapons permit. There's other states that don't, unquote. Mueller says he took an oath to support the Constitution and laws preventing citizens from owning certain semi-automatic firearms and ammunition magazines would violate their rights. Though the letter might add fuel to the already hot topic, Mueller told the Associated Press he wishes people could have a civilized discussion about the issue rather than resort to threats and name-calling. Hint. I'm at the top of the hour. And I've got one more hour, and if you want to stick around, that's fine. We can do that. But I got a whole host of things to talk about, such as former network producer, quote, I'm done denying liberal bias in the media. Got that. I've got the complete transcript of what Obama said in his speech on Monday. House reads out Constitution, only 74 members show up. Okay. Obama takes 23 actions aimed at gun violence. Yeah. You get the word from Twin Cities News Talk hosts Davis and Emmer. We'll go there when we get back from this break. Calvin Wheeler is an American dreamer in a triple threat cage match with his two biggest adversaries, everyday life and himself. His marriage to the woman he believed to be his soulmate is rapidly evaporating before his eyes. The book he's been working on for over a decade is slipping through his fingers as he struggles to complete it. As these pressures grow, Calvin compensates by conjuring up outrageous road rage scenarios in the multiplex of his mind. To make matters even worse, he drives for a living. As his life, job, and dreams simultaneously implode, his wild fantasies begin to literally bleed over into reality. Now, with a gun in one hand and a steering wheel in the other, this distant runner-up in the human race feels empowered for the very first time. And the moral to the story? Traffic can be murder. Red Asphalt by Scott Cherney. Available on the Kindle and in paperback at Amazon.com. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the king of all dorks. Go listen to the Chris Top program right here on Spreaker.com.
A communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
This is the Liberty and Freedom Network. Email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Check out the Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern at radiofreedom.us. Welcome back to the Views Expressed right here on the 17th of January, 2013. How are you? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, your host. This is the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Hey, if you have an idea for a show, jump over here on Spreaker.com. Check out the plans. All you got to do is go down to the bottom of the page. It says plans. Duh. Click on it. They got a plan that fits your budget. Hey, if you only want to talk for a half hour, that's free. And besides, all the rest of the packages are a lot cheaper than blogtalkradio.com. And you can do more. Comparison? Yes, I have one, thank you. blogtalkradio.com, you set your show, boom, you do your show. You cannot go back and do another show on the same day. But here on Spreaker, you can do your 3-hour show, reset, come back and do another 3-hour show. You know, just saying. That's Spreaker.com. check it out. Got a plan to fit your budget. Anyway, go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check things out. We're going to go right here. Actually, I was looking during the break, I was looking at the executive actions on gun control over at TwinCitiesNewsTalk.com with Davis and Emmer. And all it is a list of the gun violence reduction executive actions. And, yeah, you can check that out yourself. It's amazing that people will continually say that, well, you know, I'm wrong. Bye. Have a nice day. If you don't believe, you know, some people say, well, you know, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Really? I see because I believe. There's a big difference. Just saying. Just saying. From investigativeproject.org. Egyptian mag affirms Muslim Brotherhood infiltration of the White House, claims 6 American Muslims have strong influence on U.S. policy. This is from A Sheep No More on Facebook. Long article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I don't have time. Effectively affirming the concerns of 5 much-aligned Republican House members and the evidence presented in an investigative book, an Egyptian magazine claims 6 American Muslim leaders who work with the Obama administration are Muslim Brotherhood operatives who have significant influence on U.S. policy. The articles name Arif Alikan, Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security for Policy Development, Mohammed El-Bireri, a member of the Homeland Security Advisory Council, Rashad Hussain, the U.S. Special Envoy to the Organization of the Islamic Conference, Salam al-Marayati, I believe, sorry for screwing up the name, co-founder of the Muslim Public Affairs Council, or MPAC, Imam Mohammed Magid, president of the Islamic Society of North America, or ISNA, and Ibu Patel, a member of the President Obama's Advisory Council on Faith-Based Neighborhood Partnerships. By the way, in Stockton, California, where I grew up, there is an apartment building, multi-level apartment building, run by a Patel. I don't know if they're related. I'm just saying. There's a couple of dentists in Stockton and in that area who are Patels. I know Muslims. I've sat down with them in Stockton, one of the biggest Muslim organizations there in that area. And very nice people. And no, they don't want to, call on Allah and come rip your house off its foundations. No, they're really nice, reasonable people. Except for the extremists. They're the ones that want to come tear your house off the foundation. Continuing, meanwhile, outspoken Republican Congressman Louis Gohmert has been pressing for an investigation of the Muslim Brotherhood's influence on the federal government, contending a probe is necessary because of Obama's administration's horrendous decisions in backing the so-called Arab Spring revolutions in the Middle East. The East Texas lawmaker was one of 5 Republican Congress members who stirred bipartisan controversy in June by raising concern about the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration in the nation's capital. The Egypt-based Muslim Brotherhood was formed in the 1920s after the demise of the Ottoman Turkish Empire with the intent of helping establish Islamic rule worldwide. Sharia law. Go look it up. Its stated goal for the U.S. is, quote, a kind of grand jihad, unquote. aimed at, quote, eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within, unquote, so that, quote, Allah's religion is made victorious over all other religions, unquote. Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Check out the World News Daily Books bestseller, Muslim Mafia, Inside the Secret World That's Conspiring to Islamize America, featuring an internal Council of American Islamic Relations memo written in 2007 that called for infiltrating the Judiciary, Intelligence, and Homeland Security Committees, that's quotes, by, among other things, placing Muslim interns in Capitol Hill offices. The book also uncovered new evidence that CAIR, C-A-I-R, directly funded Hamas and Al-Qaeda terrorist fronts. Okay? Just saying. Just saying. So we have Muslim Brotherhood in the White House. We have President Obama, who thumbs his nose at Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. We have Vice President Biden, Senator Dianne Feinstein, wanting to take our guns, and don't give me any crap that they don't. Believe me, go read, go look, go research. It's there. They want to take the guns. What is the little thing I just read to you earlier? Let's go take a look. Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. HR 226. Go look it up, please. Thank you. I want to welcome to the Spreaker chat, the one and only Conservative Radio Network. How you doing? Glad you're here. Go check out their shows right here on Spreaker, Conservative Radio Network. Onward and upward to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. I just want to say that there are too many people out there that think, oh, Wayne, you're one of those conspiracy theorists. You need to be, you've gone over the edge, blah, 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 blah. Really? I have? I'm looking up this information. I'm researching it. I find that it's all true. I find that prior to the Obama administration, things did not look all that good. And I question everything. And let's see, I research history back to the Roman Empire, to the building of the United States of America by the 13 colonies who rebelled against British rule. Let me see. Shall I go on? And you're calling me a conspiracy theory kook? Yeah. Take the blue pill. Move along now. Nothing to see here. There is so much that this world can do. There is so much that the people in this world can do that we often overlook the most simplest of solutions. Now, ask yourself this question. It's rhetorical, so, I mean, let me ask the question, and you can interpret it any way you want. Why is it that when people look at the whole Constitution, they want to... pardon me, I'm grabbing something on my desk here. They're wanting to interpret only parts that they agree with. Kind of sounds like church and religion, doesn't it? Interesting. Have you looked up Sharia law yet? That's what Muslim Brotherhood wants to do to America. Get rid of Christians. Yes. What did they do to Christians in the Middle East? Oh, yeah, that's right. as we know in history. Off with their heads. Yeah, that's what the Muslim Brotherhood do. And they've infiltrated the drug gangs in Mexico that, part of Fast and Furious, we ship the guns and they ship the drugs into the U.S. Hello. 2 and 2 make 4. I don't know. From constitutionfacts.com, a little thing that I like to point out is that we have this 9th and 10th Amendment in the Bill of Rights. Let me read them to you. This is number 9, Amendment number 9. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Amendment number 10, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. Let me put it to you this way. The people go to the sheriff and say, we don't want the federal government in this state taking our guns or violating our Second Amendment. The sheriff, who is the key law enforcer in that county, says, good idea. They did it in Oregon, and they're doing it in 47 other states. And governors and legislatures are going, we totally and absolutely will nullify any unconstitutional law coming out of Washington, D.C. And guess what? Washington, D.C. and the minions up there of the New World Order and the Rothschilds and the banks and all of that are saying, we're going to take your guns whether you like it or not. You know what they're looking for, really? They're looking for a civil war. Well, yeah. I would say stand down. Because if they fire the first shot, which they already have in many, many different ways, then it would be our time to rebel. It took some very brave and courageous individuals in the first 13 colonies to come together and say, we don't like the tyranny of the Church of England and the British monarchy. So what did they do? You guessed it. Yeah. It was only, 3%, 2%, something like that. It wasn't that very many people who beat back the biggest army of that time, the British war machine, as I like to refer to it as. And we beat the crap out of them. Oh, did you know that even later on, we beat the crap out of a whole lot of people? You know why? Because we're courageous and we're dedicated to the freedom and liberty that we have. Doesn't take a piece of paper in the the Smithsonian, there we go, Museum, or in Congress to tell us that we have a right. You can burn all the documents you want. We are free people. We are sovereign people, and we want to be free. And that little piece of paper called the Constitution of the United States gives us that protection. I say little piece of paper because I'm mocking Piers Morgan. It's the most important document in the foundation of this country. December 15th, 1791. Check it out. If not, go to constitutionfacts.com. You can find PDFs of the Constitution all over the place. Do we rise up and say enough's enough? We can do it with the information. Yes. I would say if I was leading people, I would say your best and most optimum thing to do is to wait. Oh, they're going to trip up. Somebody up there is going to get a wild hair up their wazoo and say, "Charge!" That's when we have to defend ourselves. But until then, let's keep getting the information out. I don't want this to happen. I don't want another revolution to happen. Am I courageous? Do I have, guts and whatever? I will defend you, your state, your county, your city, my friends, my family. I sure as hell ain't going to defend Washington, D.C. They can cut that puppy off and throw it into the Atlantic Ocean. I really don't care. Because as you are in your heart, I am for the people. We the people, as I say at the end of the show, have the power, for we are Americans, and that's what we are. How can we sit by and watch our country that our grandfathers and great-grandfathers fought for? I think the only real war that was on this continent was the Civil War in 1861 to 1865. And that changed a whole lot of the history. There was so much stuff going on prior to that it just finally solidified certain things, and then we went from there. So, we're going to sit in our derrieres and just let time pass us by and go, okay, we'll just do this. I hope not. You are absolutely right. Conservative Radio Network in the Spreaker chat said the most important indeed. The grand experiment was outlined in the 5,000-year leap. Amen. And to be honest, I haven't read that yet. I've, thumbed through it, but I haven't read the whole thing from cover to cover. There are certain things that we need to be aware of. One of them is disinformation. Let me remind my listeners that I have a great deal of respect for people that want to get information, that are asking me respectfully, they're asking me questions and they want information. I'm fine with that. You can ask me anything you want. But when you take certain things that I say, try to use my words against me and throw it in my face and tell me I'm wrong and tell me I'm an MFer and that I'm a conspiracy theory freak and all this, that, and the other thing. Well, let's put it this way. You have either been so duped into believing everything inside your little circle of influence, or you're as dumb as a box of freaking rocks. Okay? I am very respectful to people who sit down and actually have a legitimate reason to ask me questions. If they say, I've heard this and here's what I've got, what do you have? Great, we'll talk all day long. And I'll show you the information I have. But if you sit across from me and call me names and all that, you know what? Bye. Have a nice day. Show yourself out. I don't mind that. Now, if you're going to disagree with me, we can talk all day long as well, but you contradict me, that's when, I always say prove yourself right. I got to prove to myself that this stuff is correct and accurate to the best of my ability of finding this information out. Don't I? I think you're the same way, I'm sure. But if somebody tells you that you're wrong and they don't have any information, what do? What, seriously. Do you viscerally react to them and say, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah? No, you go, oh, you don't have any information to show me? Okay, bye-bye, have a nice day. You don't waste your time explaining things to anybody. You just move on down the line. You know? Why waste energy on people who are just totally ignorant? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. It's just, it's a rhetorical question. I'm just, putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? I listen to everything. I listen to Michael Savage. I listen to Glenn Beck, Alex Jones. I listen to, when the TV was working, I used to listen to Sean Hannity and Mike Huckabee and all these other folks. And I used to watch MSNBC and Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. Her father, wanted to take down America. Go look it up. And I used to watch those shows. Why? Wouldn't you want the enemy's playbook to find out what they're going to do next? Hello. Makes perfectly good sense to me. I would think. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, I got to ask, before the bottom of the hour break, I got to ask, I believe it's Jeff, I don't know, Conservative Radio Network, if they have a schedule for shows there at Conservative Radio Network, or if they just put up podcasts, and when can we hear the shows, and I'll definitely let my audience know. Thank you. Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Let's go over there, shall we? Actually, let's do this. Change of plans. Let's do this. Let's go to Liberty and Freedom Foundation. Not my group. Okay, let's go to Liberty and Freedom Foundation on Facebook. As soon as Facebook decides that it wants to go there, I hate that. You look up at the tab and it's just going in circles, yada, 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 going in circles. Isn't it fun? It's just a fun. I don't know. It's just really cool. Just sit here and wait for that crap. Hey, I got a question for you. What's the secret of always looking young? Hang out with old people. Dean Martin said that. Let's go to Liberty and Freedom Foundation on Facebook. It's not my group, by the way. Liberty and Freedom Foundation. They have a website. It's liberty-freedom.org. So check that out as well. They're pretty good. They're really, really good. They say on their site, Governor Rick Perry blasts Obama and leftist extremists, calls exploiting massacred children for political gain disgusting. Governor Rick Perry of the great state of Texas today blasted Barack Obama and his Obamanist extremist followers for exploiting the death of children in order to promote their liberty-restricting agenda. He said, quote, "Guns require a finger to pull the trigger. There is evil prowling in the world. It shows up in our movies, video games, and online fascinations and finds its way into vulnerable hearts and minds. As a free people, let us choose what kind of people we will be. The piling on by the political left and the cohorts in the media to use the massacre of little children to advance a pre-existing political agenda that would not have saved those children disgusts me personally. The Second Amendment to the Constitution is a basic right for free people and cannot be, nor will it be, abridged by the executive power of this or any president," unquote. Amen, Governor Rick Perry. It is disgusting how they are exploiting murdered children to promote their agenda. Click like if you agree with Governor Perry and are disgusted by Barack Obama's leftist cohorts' use of murdered children to promote their political agenda, which does nothing to serve our children and only restricts our liberties. Yeah, I like that. Texas plans to arrest any Obama official who tries to enforce his Second Amendment restricting executive order. Texas is standing up to Barack Obama's attack on our freedom and the Constitution and is proposing to jail any federal officials trying to Barack Obama's gun restrictions in the state. I think they missed a word. The Texas legislature plans to file the Firearms Protection Act, which would make any federal laws that may be passed by liberals or imposed by an Obama order which would ban or restrict ownership of firearms or limit the size of the gun magazines illegal in the state. State Rep Stephen Toth said the measure also calls for felony criminal charges to be filed against any federal official who tries to enforce the rule in the state. Quote, if a federal official comes into the state of Texas to enforce the federal executive order, that person is subject to criminal prosecution, unquote, Toth said. Way to go, Texas. I like that one, too. Conservative Radio Network says they're working on a schedule. And he also said that they had fun with the use of children towards the end of today's show. It demonstrated the idiocy. It's amazing to me, I just want to throw this out there. It's amazing to me. There's two things that this government does. Two things. They will allow, and I have nothing against beautiful women, but they allow commercials on, TV, on all networks, to advertise certain products and services with sexy bikini-clad women. Okay? They'll allow that. But they'll also prop up children to promote their idiocy in terms of their laws pertaining to, their illegal laws pertaining to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, our rights, everything. They'll prop them up and use the guilt card to try to make us bow down to them. But they'll allow sexy women to be on top of cars and eating hamburgers. Thinking of Paris Hilton and Jack in the Box. Remember that a couple of years ago? They'll allow that. Oh, that's free expression. That's free speech. Really? I don't see any connection there with free speech or free expression thereof. By the way, free expression of your speech is, there's a lot, but one of them is when you're in church, or if you have something to say against churches. You have a right to express your opinion, basically, is what it is. Oh, and they're trying to implement the fairness doctrine again. So if these liberal talk shows, like the now defunct Air America or Current TV, which was sold to Al Jazeera, another news organization promoting terrorism. If you have a liberal talk show, you're going to have the opposite. All the networks, if you present that to them and say, you have this liberal show on, we have a conservative show, we'll get back to you. It's basically what they'll say. Because they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the facts. They don't want to hear the opposite of what they say. They want to stay in their little cookie-cutter world of delusion and take their blue pill. Okay? That's all they want to do. And I really am sick of it. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of it. Oh, and here's what I was talking about. Go to Liberty and Freedom Foundation on Facebook. Barack Obama makes cowardly move, will surround himself with children to announce he is restricting your constitutional rights. In an absolutely cowardly move, Barack Obama will surround himself with children to try to make his executive power grab more acceptable to Americans. He plans to unilaterally restrict the Second Amendment and thinks that surrounding himself with children will provide him cover. Obama will unveil a sweeping set of gun control proposals at midday Wednesday, including an assault weapons ban, universal background checks, and limits on the number of bullets that ammunition clips can hold to as low as 7. He is also expected to include a slate of up to 19 executive actions that he can take on his own to attempt to limit your constitutional right to bear arms. What a cowardly move to make such a bold attempt to grab power and use kids as his shield. Did you hear his speech? I've got the full transcript up on Liberty and Freedom Foundation. Yeah. You get to the point where you just want to get about 2.5, 3 million, 4 million people together and just rush Washington, D.C., jump the fence of the White House, and just scream at the top of your lungs. You know, doesn't it? Hey, if Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, the separatist that he is, can call for a 1 million-man march in Washington, D.C., which he only had, some reports, was about 400,000 people. Yeah, I think we Americans can do it on constitutional basis, which means they're trying to break the Constitution, tear it apart, rip it apart, and take our rights away. What are we doing? Sitting around going, how do you catch a mouse? You put a mouse trap out and you put some cheese in there. And that mouse looks at that and says, that looks really good. Goes over there and snap. That's what this administration wants to do. And they have UN-backed, let's just say, foreign military on our soil. Yeah, go look it up. State Department allowed it. UN sent them in for, quote-unquote, training. With what? Law enforcement. Yeah. Go check it out. I don't know. You know, what do we have? Seriously, what do we have? You're probably saying, well, in regards to what? What do we have that will give us, or that we can already stand on to defend our liberties and freedoms in this country? That is called the United States Constitution. The Constitution of the United States of America, with the 10 amendments of that are called the Bill of Rights. By the way, I'm former military. I pledge to defend it, and I will to my dying day. Hey, military, law enforcement, what the hell are you guys doing? Step up to the plate there. You got a Constitution to protect. Breaking from absolute rights. Let me go look at this. From absolute rights. Today, President Obama did nothing less than declare war on the Second Amendment. He signed executive orders outlining how he plans to attack the gun control problem in the United States. Worse yet, he did it with the words of innocent children. This man will stop at nothing to take away your guns, and you can believe that a Democrat-controlled Senate will be right there with him. Read the following line very carefully. There has never been a greater threat to your rights than now. Go to absoluterights.com. That is from the managing editor, Tim Young, and of course, looking for support. I fail to recognize. Did I say that right? Is that right? No. Let me put it to you this way. Let me go, first of all, to my personal Facebook page. Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Go look that up. That would be me, if you didn't know. And let me read what I wrote. If I can find it. God, I put so much stuff on my page, I can't find the thing that I wrote. And it's really short, and I'm probably going to overlook it. Okay. Oh, here it is. As of today, the 17th of January, 2013. Here's my declaration. I do not consent to, or will I comply with, any unconstitutional executive orders from President Obama or the current Congress, regardless of party affiliation. I'm nonpartisan, by the way. I say that because the Republican parties and the Democratic Party are all bought off. It's one party separated into two factions, and basically they're going for a power grab. And the first one to reach the throne gets the power. Let me say that one more time. This is my declaration. I do not consent to, or will I comply with any unconstitutional executive order from President Obama or the current Congress, regardless of party affiliation. 17th of January, 2013. Going to the Spreaker chat, I see the one and only, the man with the face for radio, Mr. Brian Keller, the host of Just BK. Tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. He said he finally made it, made breakfast for dinner, and now time for the views expressed. Yes, I know it's my show. Hey, what can I say? Thank you for being here, by the way. I appreciate that. I have not, I would say since, I'm old enough to remember when Reagan was governor of California. I have not seen such pressure on the American people to do what they need to do to really defend liberty and freedom. I have not seen that in a long, long time. Now, I do remember reading in history that people needed to defend themselves, and they did quite well. It's called the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Little side note, if you want to see something very good, very in-depth, go watch Ken Burns' Civil War. It's a little over 20 years old, but it's very good. I have never seen in my so many years on this planet so many Americans be so pressured into defending themselves. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do we want to defend ourselves against a tyrannical government that is going after our guns, our liberties, our freedoms? Or do we want to defend ourselves against ideology? See, there's something to think about. Because as you know, and it is said, and some analysts have said publicly, that all of what President Obama's doing and the 23 executive orders he's signed and all that, it's pretty much a moot point because they're not really that bad. And that it would take no pun intended, an act of Congress to get these passed. And even if they did, the people wouldn't want them anyway. Some analysts have said there's either going to be a revolution in this country or there's going to be compliance. While Washington, D.C. would rather want compliance more than a revolution. So let's just hope your positive, upright, senators and representatives in your state know what to do and follow the Constitution as the rule of law. Because if they don't, their political careers are going to be really, really short because it's called the ballot box. And don't be too surprised if your politicians bribe other people. There was a committee in Washington, D.C. that said, oh, it's okay. We give the politicians, we give Congress the permission to inside trade on the stock market. It's not illegal. It is for me if I did it. I'd be going to jail. 2 words, Bernie Madoff. Okay? Yeah, he defrauded people, but still, we would go to jail if we did that. Wouldn't we? Yeah, I know we would. I gotta take a little break here. I know we got like 13 minutes left. I missed my other break. See, I get on this stuff, and the other night we were on the Unnamed Show, right, Brian? And we went like an hour and a half without even having a break. And I mean, it was just, oh my God, it was crazy. Anyway, yeah, come check out the Unnamed Show with me and my host, my other host, Laura Clemens. It's a great show. We laugh. Yeah. Anyway, we will be back right after this.
Tired of all the music shows on Spreaker? Too many sports shows? How about a show that matters? I recommend The Views Expressed Live. Reverend Wayne S. Pierce tells you what is really happening in the world. Well, stop listening to this and go listen to the show. The Views Expressed Live. 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific on Spreaker.com.
For the best Southern, classic, and new rock, along with kicking country and R&B, check out Wildcat Radio for the Friday night party. The fun begins at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, with local, state, and national news from the Alabama News Network at the top and bottom of every hour. It's Wildcat Radio's Friday night party, a division of the Vulcan Internet Broadcast Company.
Come join Reverend Laura Clemens and me, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, on The Unnamed Show, Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 17th of January, 2013. Right here at the Views Expressed. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Brian and Jeff over at Conservative Radio Network. You're on Spreaker. Of course, Brian with Just BK. Yes. Awesome show, by the way. The laws, the unconstitutional laws that President Obama has signed through executive order can be resisted by us. Oh, go check it out. Yeah, go read it. Just put it in the search engine. Can we resist unconstitutional executive orders? That's all you got to do. You'll find a whole plethora of things. I haven't done that yet, so please forward all that information to me when you find it. Thank you. We've got, oh my God, a lot of stuff. EU, the European Union, releases all data on GM corn linked to cancer. GM, genetically modified organisms. Yeah. Yeah. I will put that, I will click on that. This is from phys.org, phys.org. I will put that on Liberty and Freedom Network. That is a very important article because GM foods are killing us. Soy lectin in your wheat bread? Let's see. and you say GM foods. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Don't do anything with soy. Yeah. Yeah, just saying. You know what I mean? So anyway. Also, geoengineering. Okay? Geoengineering. Might want to go startpage.com and look that one up as well. There's just so much. So much. Now, coming up to the end of the show, I want to just put this out there and say this. I do not want harm to come to anybody. I do not advocate violence. I do support defense. I do not advocate anybody going out and just, flipping over cars and doing all that crap. That just puts a bad name on the freedom movement, on the liberty movement. And you get arrested for it, okay? But if you're out in the streets or, you can go back on live stream and look at some of the stuff that's been put up there last year. There was a big riot in L.A. last year over a stupid basketball game. Some stupid mutant sport. Or something like that. Big riot. Streets were closed down. Then you had the Occupy movement in San Francisco and L.A. last year, beginning of last year. I saw it on live stream. You go out there and peaceably protest. You're peaceably assembling. That doesn't mean you yell at the cop and tell him he's whatever name you want to come up with. You peaceably assemble. They had the police go into the park in L.A., and I saw this. They had police in the park in L.A. With the Occupy movement down there. And they went in with the trucks into the park and began to just take people. And then they went in with like an army of police and just took people. And the trucks were on the street. And you know what people were doing? They were taking the barriers that were on the side, they were taking those and putting them across the road. They were taking garbage cans and newspaper dispensers and whatever and flipping them over and setting the garbage cans on fire. What kind of crap is that? I'm serious. Now, going to the Spreaker chat. I think, Jeff, I have your email. I'm not sure, but I can send you a couple of promos if you like. Of course, BK, if you have them, you can send them on their way as well. But remember, peaceably assemble. Okay? Here's a joke picture up on InfoWars Social Network, Networking Coalition, put up by Michelle Ann Hubbard Griffin. Shared capitalism photo. Okay? Capitalism, Facebook.com, or Facebook.com/capitalism. Says Ruger is coming out with a new pistol in honor of the Senate and the House of Representatives. It will be called the Congressman. It doesn't work, and you can't fire it. Okay, just saying. Now, I want to say, coming to the end of the show, that it's always fun to do these shows. I'm not here to argue with anybody. I'm not, I'm giving you information. This is what I'm doing. I'm giving you my opinion of the information. You guys got to decide for yourself and draw your own conclusions on it. Go research it. Go look at it. Also, if you have information you want me to put up on the website, I can. The website is at freeamericaradio.wix.com, the views expressed. And I'll put whatever article you have or you've sent me, and I'll put it up there. Plus, I have a free email newsletter, the Liberty and Freedom Network newsletter. I haven't really put one together this month yet, but if you have a couple of articles, links, or something, go ahead and send that to me. I'll put it in the newsletter if you'd like. Send that to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. More than happy to do that. And of course, we've got more shows on Spreaker. Anyway, go check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show here on Spreaker. I know that's a long title. Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show. Also, go listen to The Unnamed Show. Okay? Also, The Wayne S. Pierce Show. That's not really on a schedule, but just look for it. And, yeah. Keep coming back here, man. Like I said, I'm reading articles. I'm breaking them down for you. I'm sharing information. I encourage you to go look it up. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? Giving you my opinions on it. Hey. This is Thursday, 17th of January, 2012. And I'm out of here. Come join me, the Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Go check out Just BK tonight, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker. And also, go check out That Radio Show with your host Nick Larson and his buddy JJ, Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. So, or something like that. Go check it out. We'll talk to you later. We the people have the power, for we are America.